guys, Maxwell here. I'm just doing like an exploratory drive right now. I'm driving back home, but it was something where I was just too cooped up in the house, and I just really wanted to, like, kind of, I guess, break free and basically just kind of seek for the version of myself that I want to seek, you know, and by that I just more so mean that, and part of my voice, I'm a little bit under the weather, yeah, just with a cold, but I'm really just thinking about just the wilderness season I'm in right now, just overall. And I've been in this season before, but reflecting, and this just also just goes back to just graduation, and just having just so much reflection right now about just the fact that I've graduated, and the fact that so much has happened, like I've gone through so much, and it just made me think so much about how, especially with college, and when you just go through, and when you have that experience where you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, whether that's college, okay, I can't believe this person cut me off like that, but, you know, whether that's college or just, oh, what the heck? He crossed over 2 lanes. New Jersey driving, you know, but it really had just made me think so much about that. This is going to just be more so a vulnerable video, and also, honestly, all my videos are vulnerable. This is nothing new, but this is just going to be more so a kind of a progress in my thinking, because I'm at a point currently where I'm always a work in progress, but I know in my videos I've often made it sound like, oh, you know, here's the next tip for you guys, here's the next lesson, here's the next advice, and there's still going to be some lesson here, but it's going to be in a very nuanced way. I don't know if you and whoever's watching, there's this guy I've watched, like one of those Christian entrepreneurs. His name's Jared Montour, and in most of his videos are like talking about where he is in the moment, that where he is not perfect, and so I feel like I want to go down that route with these videos, where I share a side where like the more so the growth of where I want to get at, but at the same time share a deeper lesson, and that is that when it comes to the wilderness season, whether that's like on the journey of being sexually disciplined, or the journey and growing like into the person that God has called you to be, you're going to just be, you know, the wilderness season is just basically when you're just searching. And that's why I love like drives like this, long drives, because it's like a searching feeling, obviously putting in the work, of course. That's what I always strive to do. I don't take for granted the aspect of hard work, but it's more so, you know, it's about the working smarter, not harder. And that's what I've been thinking about. How can I maximize the time, instead of just trying to force something that's like unnatural? And so I'm thinking so much about how just in a spot that I've been like before, which is but it's different now. Like, I've been here multiple times where I think about where I want to go, but it's something where I know that God is working in my favor. Like, you're always going to be in the wilderness season. This wilderness season, the cycle of that is always going to repeat itself, but you will get closer to where you want to be. Each wilderness season that you go to is closer progress to where you want to be. As long as your trajectory is forward, as long as you're not staying stagnant, and you can sense that who you were a month or like 2 months ago is, that you've grown like drastically. And I've just been thinking so much about the whole idea of just, it's very easy to think in ways where, and we all, it's part of the human experience when it comes to, no matter how much growth that we've made in a certain period of time, it's very easy to like desire, oh man, I would desire for a relationship, desire for a girlfriend, desire to just go out and explore more, because I don't know if I remember, I briefly touched on this in some regard in my last video, but it was something where I was in a position where I had to push through to unlock my true self, and that was like getting rid of friends that were holding me back, even just like certain mental habits that were holding me back, because I feel like a habit that holds us back so much is just not only complacency within our mindset, but complacency in just what we want to accomplish, and complacency of just doing the most that we can. Not saying everybody has their own preferences too. At the same time, I'm just looking at as I'm driving around, I'm just going for a leisurely drive. I'm on my way home, just because I don't want to eat dinner too late. For context, it's 9:30 right now. As I'm at this point in the video, it's 9:33 p.m. I look around and I just imagine. I think about the magnitude of how, just the fact that not only God brought us here, but also the fact that there's just so much to explore in this world, and it's like I want to explore more of it. And the one thing that held me back, and this is part of my growth, I'm not saying this is a way to be regretful, because where we are at a certain point is our capacity is our capacity is only how we are in the moment. We can't wish for ourselves to be something more if who we are in that certain stage or season of life is something that we have to go through, and right now I'm just thinking about all this, I'm driving on the Serene Highway, and I'm thinking about how expansive this world is, and how much we can experience and just live out. And it reminds me so much, and there's so much to explore, yet a lot of times, some people, I felt like this myself, and it depends, and I feel like I don't, what I was going to say, it could be dependent on this living situation, but I think to myself that if God made so much in this world, he created all these trees, he created all these environments, he created just so much for us to explore, then why not explore it? It's the same thing with the utmost potential that God has for us. The utmost potential for us to be in a relationship with somebody who is so loving and God-fearing, and it's somebody where the more that we work on ourselves, the more that God reveals that person to us. And it's the same thing with our goals. The more that we achieve our utmost potential to our goals, the more that we stop listening to the lie that certain goals are like better than others, or this goal is more valid and this goal is stupid, and the less that we stop limiting ourselves, just the more growth that we can attain, you know. We look at like you think about our purpose. Like all these goals, and it's all connected. God wants us to experience everything. God wants us to just live in such a blessed way. Live in accordance with what makes us so fulfilled. And we can only do that by going through the pain of searching within ourselves, because the limiting beliefs that we have of what prevent us from going after what we actually want is a rooted pain that makes us feel like it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy world to live in, because it feels too good to be true sometimes. The ability to just live in accordance with who you truly want to be, because we've had so many instances in our lives where we've been taken advantage of, or our expectations for something went one way, but then they went a completely different way. But you have to see all that as tests from God. He's testing you to make you ask yourself, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to truly be fulfilled? Because true fulfillment comes from resilience through the tests that God gives you. And tests through anything. Even for, like, you know, there's different rankings in this world of what jobs are, you know, so more socially acceptable. Even with the jobs that people feel fulfilled at, and they're more, I guess, you know, quote unquote, like I said, socially acceptable, those people, they go through the same doubts as well, like that I just mentioned. It's universal. And the more that we can unleash the inner strength to go after of what we truly deserve and desire, then we basically unravel pockets of joy that we didn't know that were there. And by that I mean, you know how when we grow up, we have instances where we enjoy something, and there's a point where that enjoyment of something can be distorted, because say we love something and then all of a sudden we get bullied, or somebody makes fun of us for what we enjoy and what we want, and that leaves like a scar on our brain that tells us that this isn't validated in my external reality, therefore it's not worth pursuing. But that external comment, that external judgment, is just a test to see how much respect do you actually have for yourself. Because if you immediately quit on something because somebody said it was stupid, or quit on throwing away something that somebody took the enjoyment, is like working to take the enjoyment out of, then it's like you've already lost the battle, because you have told yourself that you don't have the foundation to own the gifts that God has given you. The gifts meaning the niches that you enjoy, the God-given purpose and desires that He's called you to fulfill and to appreciate. And I went through that many, many years, and it wasn't until I went through the fire of this past school year where I truly began to accept myself and to not base my authentic self, or base on the commitment to my authentic self from others' opinions. Because there were multiple times, and this is something that I'm working to get out of in the habit on social media, and that is posting and having that internal mentality that I will only of just worrying what other people think, or worrying about, man, who's gonna unfollow if I do this. And I've slowly grown out of that mindset, but it still comes to me, and I have to tell myself, like, I catch myself in that cycle, right? And I tell myself, this is only holding me back from what God wants me to do. And it's you have to build this mental resilience in your beliefs, where you say, this is just a thought. This is not who I am. This is just a thought. It feels conflicting. It feels like there's no end to the doubt. But you have to pick apart the thought and the doubt. And when you do, you'll find leeways, you'll find different routes to jump over the hurdle of the doubt and get to where you want to be, get to where God is leading you. And all that is to say that like I mentioned, I've been in this wilderness season many, many times, and it's interesting to think about how I feel like I'd want to do, in some regards, some reflection on how my past wilderness seasons were, but I feel that would be a deeper I guess commitment to pick apart. Granted, I have this whole channel, it already takes a lot to pick apart anyway, so what difference does it make? It's like I'm making an hours upon hours and hours long videos, so what, if I could do that, I could do anything. So it's really just, I think to myself at this point that just a reminder that every wilderness season you go through is a reminder of how far you've come. Because most people, when they get into the wilderness season, they immediately go back to their old ways. They quit. And I can recall growing up, the many wilderness seasons I had, the many introspective, it depends upon your mindset with the wilderness season. You could see it as beautiful, melancholic, peaceful, serene. You could see it as anything. But the people who quit the moment that the wilderness season happens, they immediately think they're doing something wrong. But just because you're in the wilderness season doesn't mean you're lost. There's that quote that goes, not all those who wander are lost. The wilderness season, and whatever endeavor you go through, whether that's the endeavor of gaining back your inner strength, gaining you back the inner peace and inner joy that you had when you were younger, but with a more mature, developed state, it's all attainable. You just have to trust the wilderness season. Every one of your goals is worth pursuing. Do not allow people who see you thinking deep, analyzing deeply, wanting to accomplish things that most people cannot fathom in a basic sense. Do not allow them to dictate your value or dictate your life and where you want to be. Because it's very easy to want to be a part of the crowd, be a part of the larger group of people, be a part of a larger group of people that you can make memories with. It's very easy to think that, but at the end of the day, where you are right now, God is protecting you from people who He doesn't want you to get hurt by. We think that we're in a wilderness season, or when we're in a period where it feels like we're seeing the season over and over. It's very easy to think like we're here because it's punishment. No. You're here. You're in this season because God is promoting you to something greater. You just have to go the extra mile and to stop thinking within a surface level lens to understand of how God is promoting you. You have to, because our minds are powerful. Our minds think deeply, Why do you think there's so many books out there that kind of go so much in depth into these deeper concepts and that are about bestsellers? They're bestsellers because they tap into an area of the psyche that people feel seen by. And that's the same thing with the life that God has given us. There's so much deeper potential that we can gain. And we just have to own it. We have to understand that we deserve to go about this pursuit for utmost fulfillment, whether that's with our relationships, whether with a relationship we want to pursue, the goals of the careers that we want to pursue, in like working to build all these careers, to gain a massive amount of income from, market all of the things that we grew up enjoying and build an income from it, but not do it in a selfish way, but do it in a way that inspires other people, that lets other people know. The world tells you that you can't do this because you won't gain money, but you're just feeding into the mindset of what the world is telling you. The energy that you think with is the energy you get back. So if you change up the energy that you perceive what you want to accomplish and how you want to think about the world around you, and what you want to attain, if you want to attain, and if you want to have that loving spouse, you have to tell yourself that you deserve that loving spouse. If you tell yourself, oh, it's too hard, I should just settle, then that's the energy you're putting out there. If you tell yourself, I can't go after this creative career, I can't go after this career because that was just a phase I went through, that was just something stupid I did for fun, that was just something that's so niche and that's so bizarre, I cannot possibly inspire people with this. I cannot possibly present myself out in the world because I'll make a fool out of myself. I won't possibly get there. You know, I can't possibly do that because I'll be judged. I'll lose my friends, or I'll be too much like of an enigma, that I'll just feel so out of place. When you die, are you going to be thinking about other people? Or are you going to be thinking, man, I wish I did those things that I allowed my limiting beliefs to be consumed by? And that's what the wilderness season teaches us. It teaches us to dive deep in what we want, and it's a checkpoint into fixing how we're thinking in the moment and how we can make it better. With all being said, I love you guys, and Max Efford Maxwell signing out. Trust in the wilderness season. Keep going.